Paul, let me come to you. Your lawsuit failed, and all that it sought to do was to protect Donald Trump's rally goers with exactly what Curley has just reported his own science and coronavirus task force members were worried about. They were worried about being able to protect citizens in an indoor facility, not socially distanced and not wearing masks. Talk about the lawsuit and if there's any other recourse now that it's failed.
Nicole, thanks for having me. First and foremost, happy Juneteenth, particularly to our community. We've known that name a long time before President Trump decided to come here, obviously, and it's a big day for us. Look, there's no winners or losers in this lawsuit except for one thing. The virus won. That's who won. If you sat down to design a delivery system for mass transmission of a virus during a pandemic, this is what you would come up with, this event. And so I don't look at it as the lawsuit failed, because I believe that we raised the issues, we spotted the issues. What has failed us was not the lawsuit and our courageous plaintiffs, who were the only ones to stand up. What has failed us is our local leadership. That's what's failed here. But really, the only winner is the virus. It's not a matter of whether people will get sick and die in Tulsa as a result of this event in my beloved city. It's a matter of how many.
Those are haunting remarks, Dr. Patel. If you could just pick up from Paul's, I think, very powerful summation of what this lawsuit was about. It was about protecting lives, and the winner is the virus.
Absolutely, Nicole. And he's right. This is just an attempt by the people of Tulsa to actually try not only to protect their own health, but remember that people coming to the rally are coming from other places and presumably going back to those places. So the ability for tens of thousands of people to then take this virus to other cities and towns and potentially vulnerable people, honestly, it's just indicative of this presidency. The CDC itself, the public health agency itself, has already classified this type of gathering as the highest risk. Indoors, large crowds where you can't physically distance, with people coming in from other places. It is, by definition, the highest risk place to do anything. And why am I not surprised? But unfortunately, we are going to have a health system that's already strained, deal with it. We are going to have people who will get infected and will get sick. And we'll have nobody taking responsibility because they've offered a waiver. And this isn't a rally to try to understand how we can improve the economy or how we can try to get jobs back to Americans. It's purely for politics. So as a scientist and a physician, it feels like a slap in the face.
And, you know, Ron Klain, it isn't even just for politics, because Donald Trump's political standing is suffering under the weight of his botched response to the pandemic and his absence in the face of this moment of reckoning around racial injustice and police brutality. This is also about his feelings. The Washington Post reported that he was feeling cooped up. I mean, you know, lots of people's toddlers are too, but we're not marching them into the CDC's worst case scenario type venues to make them feel better. I'm also told by a Trump ally that he doesn't want to see masks. So that too is about his feelings. He doesn't want to look at people with masks. And on the question of testing, which he does every day, he thinks it's overrated. I mean, has he sort of passed this point of being incompetent and moved into something more akin to trutherism around a pandemic that the World Health Agency and others say is still very much on the rise and threatens the world population?
Well, yeah, Nicole, I mean, it's not just very much on the rise around the world. It's very much on the rise in Oklahoma. Oklahoma, as you said, had its peak day yesterday. And so even under the White House's own guidelines, even under the lax guidelines that President Trump signed off, which said you shouldn't expand activities if there aren't 14 days of decline, this event flunks Trump's own guidelines of what should be done. So why is he doing it? As you said, this isn't even about politics. It's about ego. It's about assembling Trump's followers to rise up with chants of praise for their leader. He's failing in the polls. He's failing in the polls because he's failing our country. And so he is calling his faithful together to offer praise up to Donald Trump in a grand event. This, as I said, this isn't even about electoral politics. It's just about his personal narcissistic desire to do that. And he's willing to risk people's health, the health of his own followers, health of the places where these people live. He is willing to put lives on the line to pump up his ego. It's nothing more or less than that.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.